Welcome back to another episode of House Aquarius Podcast. It is your favorite Aquarius here, Make a Wish in the building, back to bring you another one. Love Talks. So, in honor of my boy having his doing his first homecoming dance tonight, I haven't done this one yet. These two signs. And right now it's 5:05 in the morning. And since I'm off work this whole week for an involuntary vacation, I decided you're going to get a whole bunch more of these things probably, but I could do this one quickly off the hip. And before he wakes up too, because I want to hear this directly in person without, watching the podcast. But so don't mind me. Oh yeah, don't mind that stuff right there in the back. This stuff's always been in the basement. I just brought a sofa in because for other business I do, and it's kind of had to push things to the side. So ignore that though. Let's do a basement. Let's do a finished basement, but let's do a basement though. I got stuff down there, business stuff too, So all that being said, Pisces male, Scorpio female. All right. Like I said, this is one of the two signs that actually I am able to do off the hip, like on the fly, literally on the street. Someone see me in the elevator, I could talk to you about just like nothing. I felt too much having to research things to make sure I'm accurate or not missing things. So, going with this one here. Pisces is mutable sign, easily, nicely adept to change. Scorpio is a fixed sign. So there are a lot more options in regards to changing from their own habits or whatever. As if you guys follow all my previous stuff, you will know that water signs doing together are actually a very good start to the compatibility chain. They have a lot more common ground to work with. So with that being said, this is already off to a good start. The Scorpio female here, they are, as I said before, they're very nice and passionate. They're very intense with the love. They're very devoted to the other person when they're actually involved. Oh, before I keep going with that thought though, let me make sure I remind you this. See, this right now we're talking about my son and his girlfriend. But they're young though. They're still under the age of 18. And so the sun sign is still developing. So some things may or may not be as on point or as sun signish until you get later on in life. But some things too, there's some things are still very prevalent in the sign, very dominant at an early age, regardless of what your sun sign is or your other influences, other parts in the chart, So like I was saying here, Scorpio female is very, very devoted when she actually falls into love. They're very intense, very passionate. They love staying into what they're doing or who they're with. They're, like I said, very great. Pisces male, they're romanticizers. They like to do things right. They like to make sure they stay things and keep things going to help the other person out in the situation much better. As I said to you before, if you've been following the information, is that Pisceans, male or female, tend to be very, very, very unable to control the fact that they might be too helpful or too giving, and they will put themselves in a very bad situation to help the other person or other people out, regardless if they want to or not. It's just in their nature. It's kind of a Virgoian thing. They do the same thing as well too. Except they're just sometimes being more health related, regardless of their lack of eating or taking care of themselves. They will go over, above and beyond to help somebody else out. That's just what they do. Key person with that, Mother Teresa. But those two things there, for what I was saying in regards to the Pisces male and the Scorpio female, are not actually a potential hindrance. if there was negative qualities in regards to either sign, like the Pisces male being more manipulative or controlling in the subliminal level, or the Scorpio female looking to get what she wants to get out of the male, this could be very problematic as as time goes on, because it's very, very toxic trait. Some of the most emotionally hurtful situations can happen from water signs, because they tend to do things a lot more subliminally, behind the scenes, very introspectively speaking. It's all mental stuff. That's one of the worst things to deal with here. But aside from that though, sun sign strictly only right now, they work very well together. Water signs tend to be very, very, very in tune with their emotions, and they pick up the emotional output, positive and or negative, from other people easier. So for the most part, these two signs, Pisces male and the Scorpio female, sorry, will always have a good idea of how the other person is feeling and be able to adjust to that properly on the fly. If they want to make things better, they make things better, One of the bad things though to watch out for is that because there are more emotions in play, you are tending to deal with the potential of some very, very hurtful things be possibly in sudden. Scorpio is already known for having a very, very sharp tongue when they feel smitten or anything of that nature. Both signs tend to be brooders at times. So it's a slight buildup and emotional quick release, which can be a very detrimental thing. With a lot of roller coastering of the emotions. Trying to find the right words to say without sounding too, pillowing stuff too much. This is for the Pisces males here, I would say actually there's the ability to internalize the pain they have. If they can internalize the pain and keep it so it's not like a spark waiting for the right time to strike type situation, it will help things in the long run, or short term or long term, doesn't matter. Because to this day, I still have not heard the hurtful things quite said differently other than from a Scorpio. Oh my goodness. And I love me some Scorpios. Shit from like fucking 1972 come out of nowhere. Like, well, weren't you born in 99? Yeah, but that don't change the fact I know what you did back then too. Oh man. But yeah, no, this pairing is actually one of the best in my personal opinion no, I can't really say that. I can't really say that they're one of the best, because all water signs, aside from same signs, actually really work very well together, because they all have that same compatibility, as those same emotional needs and depths that are actually going to be, or should most likely be, properly dealt with the other person in the same sign who actually has the same exact needs. So for the most part, that should be fine. They actually, like I said, actually very, very great pairing. Excuse me. So I'm trying to think of how the signs don't really work too well. I mean, Scorpio female has the potential to be very possessive, and that's a Scorpio trait, which, as I was saying before about trying to find the differences between each sign, male and female, I should say this actually much earlier. The Scorpio female differs from the male by being more internalized and mental, whereas the negative traits tend to come out more openly and more forcefully from the male Scorpios. That's one of the biggest things that differentiate factors, because they both actually love long-term relationships. They desire that. When they have that focal point to put all the passion and energy into and intensity into, they're literally almost exactly the same. Just like I said, just about that expression of their thoughts and emotions differs. That's one of the biggest things there. I said, but they're very, from what I've been noticing, they're very similar. And then with their Pisces male and female, they actually are quite similar as well too. It's just a matter of no. The male Piscean has to be more romantical in regards to outwardly expressing towards bringing the female towards them. And what I know is the females tend to be more sexually arousing, and they emit more of emotional to bring people towards them without actually being direct, but still subliminal. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the biggest key differentiating factors. It's just, like I said, how they express themselves there. But both gotta do the same exact thing, and it's like I said, it's a pooling for the female, whereas for the male, it's a going out towards to go find. But it's still the same thing when it gets. So they're not actually too different there. But either way, I would dive into those further when I flip things around. Because actually, if I was to flip this one around, like I said, it's actually almost the same thing. Just not too much different here. But yeah, no. What I'm seeing in this one actually is only thing these signs have to be careful of is dealing with the emotional highs and lows. Because when a Scorpio female gets more emotional, she withdraws, gets information, and stings when she's hurt. And the Piscean male withdraws, bottles up, and more explodes when the time is right. But the good thing is they still weigh the options about the person they care about. It's this one thing. Oh, and this is one thing that I have noticed as a trend. I don't know. I would love to hear the comments below. This is not true by any means. But if you happen to know, like I feel, like I had just like 7 or 8 times. More often than not, a Scorpio female find themselves getting into a long-term relationship early on in middle school, high school, whatever, and it carried over into their adult life. They're more prone to be actually involved with someone for several years, up until, I want to say, they go to the age of between 22 to 26, 27, where the initial changes happening for the sun sign growing. But I've been noticing that. So in this situation, for, like I said, in regards with my son, hopefully he doesn't take this to heart, because things always happen, and ups and downs, people separate, people come together, blah, 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 life happens. But there's a high possibility that they actually could be together for a very long time, for a bit. Well, maybe for a long time too, for a long, long time. But that being said, no pressure, things happen. Short term, for these signs, for these two guys, not my son and daughter, and his girlfriend, but just these two signs in general. I don't see there's too many things that actually they do that attracts the other one initially in the short term. Outside, physical stuff. Physical looks, physical attraction, blah, blah, blah. But in the long term, though, if they actually were to come together, these signs actually have a very strong ability to be together for a very long time. Because, as I said before, and as you already might know, that Pisceans are always looking for someone to love and get a much reciprocated emotional bonding with the person for a long time. And the same thing with the Scorpios. Scorpios have that intense desire for devotion and family that they want to put into one person. So, long-term relationship, this is actually near perfect. Short term, honestly, I can't say. It just really comes down to each person, situation, But if you happen to find one, though, you might want to think about the long term just because, just play the long term card, bypass short term, So, with that being said, and hopefully the audio will sound good in this one, because this is the first time I actually don't have attached to my car or my Bluetooth. So I'm hoping it actually sounds pretty decent and I don't sound too muffled or something like that. If so, let me guys know in the comments below, and I will make sure to actually have my Bluetooth on for next time, And my next time is like the next day or two, so guys, better be quick. With that being said, hopefully you found this helpful. And if there's anything else in this information that you feel like you need to add that I missed, put it down in the comments below. And if you do happen to know someone who is in this relationship and it didn't work out, hey, let me know that in the comments below too. Why? I much appreciate that, because I just want to help. I love this shit. You guys, my friends, stay classy. Be you. As always, make a wish.